Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to round 7 of Pro Play Tour Las Vegas. I'm Alex Emo, joined by Mr. Joseph Rothschild. And Joseph, why are you grinning so much over there?
I'm actually hurting my face with how hard I am smiling. We found a singular individual who has been pestering us all day for a feature match. They are still X2 in round, what is this, 7?
This is 7.
Oh my goodness. They are X2 in round 7 playing Mathmech.
Unbelievable.
It's not only unbelievable, we gotta look at the list, and I gotta tell you, like, no exaggeration, this probably represents the most playable Mathmech build I have ever seen. He has been deep in the tank on combo theory and has come out with a very, very fantastic build for just beating people's faces.
And apparently, yeah, he just like OTKs people in like under a minute.
He's been swallowing Orkust all day, tributing over Dingirsus and getting in with Final Sigma. I'm excited to see if he does it again because his opponent is on Lunalight Orcust.
Yes, so Ernesto's on Lunalight Orcust. Again, both these players are X2, but you really just wanted to feature this Mathmech player. Honestly, like, that's fine. We haven't seen like any Mystic Fighter decks do anything like relatively well, but the fact that he's actually playing for a spot like for top 16, if he wins this and one more, like, he's probably in.
Yeah, the winner of this game has exactly one game to win before potentially making top 16.
So this is going to be interesting. But let's just go ahead and get right into it. Let's not waste any more of your guys' time.
Chat says, Mathmech Sugma? What is that? All right, so the Mathmech cards, there are 4 of them that are any good. They're all main deck monsters that effectively just special summon themselves from the hand. But they're able to link into a multitude of extremely powerful cards like Cyber's Wicked, Link Devotee, all in pursuit of a singular Xyz monster called Dalimbertion, which can search any spell or trap from your deck to your hand, or an extremely powerful end boss, Final Sigma, which can OTK through almost anything. However, if there's a single deck that can prevent an OTK like that, it's probably the impressive board builder Lunalight Orcust.
Now, so again, as a non-mathematician here, is this supposed to be a going... I feel like this is supposed to be a going second blind deck.
Even if it is not, for example, if you're playing Dalimbertion Turbo and aim to get like an Imperial Order,
whoa! This is going to be interesting. So card destruction.
And the jig is up. He immediately knows what his opponent is
Ernesto
doing.
now knows what he's playing against. And I don't know if that matters because like maybe, I don't know if he's aware of what this deck is capable of doing, but I mean, card destruction is one hell of a card, especially when your hand is Tsuchinoko and you have Serenade Dance.
Oh my gosh.
It could be crazier, right? But I mean, so card destruction, you just get a whole new hand and you get all that advantage.
We're talking real quick about Into the Void. If the third card in your hand is Into the Void, you are allowed to activate it.
Correct. Yes.
For some unbelievable reason.
But as you were saying with Mathmech.
Yeah, if you're not going for a blind Dalimbertion play to get something like Imperial Order, though I know Maximilian is playing the Super Factorial, their searchable win condition. You are trying to usually, and based on Maximilian's list, this is what he's doing every time, kaiju your opponent's monster and then attack it with Final Sigma for several 100,000 damage. It's not very hard to put together a Final Sigma play, so additional Cyberses usually translate into Wicked's, additional pieces of Disruption, and additional ways to play through hate. I think everyone is kind of united in understanding that Mathmech is probably the most competitive of the Mystic Fighter lists, and I really hope that this shows it.
So Ernesto here, just doing typical Lunalight Orcust things. He did it in a bit of an unorthodox way, but he's essentially going to be able to get there. So now we're going to see the Nyarla come down. It's going to rotate the materials, and then he can go into Azathoth to lock Maximilian from out from doing anything this turn. I don't think this matters.
No.
Because, I mean, does again, going second blind deck, but does this deck actually play hand traps to any capacity? Or is it just solely built to just, like, just OTK through anything?
Saw's list, there's no hand traps.
Okay, so this actually does nothing.
It's all going second cards, things like Pancratops, things like Super Polymerization. A lot of cards that facilitate easy OTKs, and then a lot of cards that are tribally relevant for them. In fact, it probably benefits Maximilian for Ernesto to pop off as much as possible, because if he ends on a Link monster, that monster can't be switched to defense position, and as a result will be easy fodder for a Final Sigma.
And Ernesto, as we know, is playing Orcust, so there is a chance that he could potentially end on a Galatea in tandem with something like a Crescendo, if he so opts to do so. So it's possible. I mean, Lunalight Orcust boards, again, like Appaloosa is another one, if you want to go that route. There's so many different ways that he could end on a Link monster. And Maximilian, I mean, he's getting his opportunity to shine here.
Yeah, he better prove it.
Yeah.
I used up all of my SEMO political capital to get this guy on stream.
I was telling you that if he won this round specifically, then I would 100% feature him in round 8 because then on the bubble, that means knowing if he won, he would be in for top 16. At least
got
very
a compromise
likely.
for you.
Okay.
Why don't we feature him again next round?
Was that your plan all along?
Yeah.
Just so you can commentate 2 rounds of Math.
I won't be happy until PPG is rebranded as a Mathmech one-trick channel.
And so Ernesto just going through the motions here. Really nothing too ridiculous. We're going to go ahead and just Nessie just to get it out of the hand just so we can search again. This is going to allow him to get a Jackalope, which can, again, just easily get another danger onto the board. So just slowly but surely building the board. Seen a lot of these like build my board style decks on our feature matches. Again, there's still plenty of Sky Striker, Orkust, don't you worry.
We've been self-selecting out of it, but you'll see it in top 16.
Yeah, because we know the top 16 is going to be like generally comprised of Sky Striker, Orkust for probably a majority of the top cut if we had to guess. So we're trying to just give you guys as, you know, we're trying to bring you guys something a little bit different, and Mathmech definitely falls in that category.
Yeah, for what it's worth, we've seen a lot of Pendulum. We saw that Danger Thunder combo deck.
The Shadal Train Mystic Mind deck.
The Shadal Train Mystic Mind deck. I mean, there's a lot of rogue decks looking to build boards or capitalize on people building boards. It's one of those scenarios where Orkust is clearly the best deck. So the field is about 40% Orkust and 60% people gunning specifically for Orkust.
Can I just say, I really just love the divide that the game has had right now, where, you know, there are players that specifically want to build a deck to go second, and how that's just really, look how many going second decks we featured today, just alone, and that's just so representative of how the game is shaping up now. Like, yeah, there's still plenty of build my board type decks. There's plenty of decks, you know, like the top decks that can go first or second. But then when you have people that specifically want to go second, like, I just think that's so cool that YuGiOh's taken a direction like that where just things like that are happening.
I do like Ernesto is 1 4-star monster away from summoning Mathmech Dalimbertian. So he could represent Mathmech on both sides of the table if he so desired.
So he can go ahead and summon another 4. He can link into Alimbertian. And what he's going to add to his hand with the
Imperial Order.
Okay.
Super Factorial. There's the other 4. Nah.
Sorry to disappoint you.
He's talking to the judge real quick. Why is it fair that this gets to do this? All right, Appaloosa is quite bad, but with only 2 counters on it, it's not very strong.
So I think it definitely could be worse.
Yeah. So, you know, there's probably going to be a Tornado Dragon here, would you say?
I was going to say that it was going to be that or Dweller. So how does Dweller match up against Mathmech?
Well, it's not good. Mathmech don't care too much about the graveyard, but certainly, you know, it is a hindrance to the deck. It has a ton of ways to summon a Final Sigma without having to ever interact with the graveyard in any way, but those are hard if it also has to compete with something like Dingirsu at instant speed, or a Orkust Crescendo, or 2 negates out of an Appaloosa. Oh boy.
It's interesting with Lunalight Orcust, too. I don't think I talked about this earlier with our round 1 feature match at Deception. Was with what's interesting about Lunalight Orcust is that not only is it Orkust, but it can also main Dweller.
Yeah.
And, like, that just in this current format seems so powerful.
Ooh.
Opting for Long Girsu here.
I don't know. This might be a misplay. It's pretty easy for Maximilian to never link anything. And more importantly, a Final Sigma that's in the extra monster zone isn't affected by other card effects. So if he goes to the extra monster zone with Final Sigma, Long Girsu uses its effect, it's not going to matter.
What I'm curious is he making this move because he thinks it will matter in stopping Mathmech? Like, or
just because it's a good Orkust play?
I mean, but he didn't even make a Dingirsu.
Yeah, it doesn't seem great.
So I feel like that's stronger. So I don't know if this is like to specifically stop something that Mathmech can do. Like, I really can't say because I have very little knowledge of like this matchup in particular.
It's one of these scenarios where I do feel like this is an alternate line for Lunalight Orcust, and he recognizes that his opponent is playing a deck that aims to make use of alternate lines, and so thinks, well, maybe I should do something a little unsuspected, you know, something that he wouldn't think an Orkust player would do in order to kind of next level a deck that's aiming to capitalize on people going for standard plays. However, I don't think it matters.
So here comes Thousand Eyes. So that's going to go ahead and attempt to target the Appaloosa. That's going to immediately get negated. So Appaloosa only on 800 now.
All right, here we go.
All right, so go ahead.
All right, so the card that he's activating is Mathmech Subtraction, or Mathmech Subtra in the OCG. This allows you to target a monster on the field, locks you from specialing for the extra deck from the rest of the turn except for Cyberses, and specials this card from the hand. And if you do, the targeted monster loses 1,000 attack until the end of the turn. It looks like he has elected to
Appaloosa negated
that.
the subtraction.
And is this at the end of Ernesto's turn, or did it has to be, right?
I'm not 100% sure. I didn't see him make the motion to pass. I think Ernesto just went ahead and used Nightmare to possibly pump the Appaloosa.
Oh, that's funny. All right, so Subtraction has made it onto the board. This is the subtracting one.
So subtraction not a hard once per turn?
Subtraction is a hard once per turn. I think what happened is it resolved, but the response was to pump the attack of Appaloosa, which I think doesn't matter too much. So here we're likely seeing...
Okay.
Ooh, there's so many options for Maximilian. You can see, I think he's thumbing over the Cybers Wicked. Or an IP?
It's
Ooh, an IP it is. All right. Ernesto says fine. Ooh, next he's going to link summon using IP and Microcoder.
Okay.
Microcoder is an incredible addition to this deck, and I got to tell you, as someone who's played a small amount of Mathmech, you really, really, really like the fact that you're getting an extra monster zone. Keeping that other one free for Final Sigma is critical to preventing battle phase interaction.
Now, clearly the Dweller was putting a damper on things a little bit. I'm not sure if Microcoder has an effect that activates Engrave, but apparently it does because there was a little bit of a...
Yeah, so Microcoder can be used as link material from the hand if you're summoning exactly a Code Talker monster. Mm-hmm. And then if it's sent from the hand or the field to the graveyard as material for a Code Talker, you can target a Signet, spell, or trap and add it from your deck to your hand. Or you can add a level 4 Cybers monster if it's used from the field.
Sure. So now we see Longius's effect being used. He shuffled away he sent to the Code Talker to the graveyard.
So notably, we haven't used the normal summon.
No, we have not.
So I think I see the multiplication in the hand. All he needs is 1/4, and he wins the game. He's thinking real quick.
He's crunching the numbers.
He really actually is doing math.
Oh, did he just... Oh, he just scooped it up, though. So,
no.
So he almost was able to play through it, but as you said, he's one level 4 away.
Oh, I feel so bad for him.
Joseph, I should have taken a bet with you on this.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think I ever would have done that.
We are in Vegas, though.
The grand tournament of the series is upon us as Season 2 comes to a close with the Pro Play Tour Invitational, where players will be playing for $25,000 in cash and prizes. Still not qualified? Last chance qualifiers will occur on day 1 of our 3-day event, and we'll fire every 8 players, awarding a box in prizing and invites. Be ready to play a few, because LCQs are only $10. Saturday is day 1 of the main event with a top competitor playoff following on Sunday. Stick around for day 3, where we will have team events as well as a variety of side events. For more information, visit ppgeventmanagement.com and come play with the pros.
That's the problem, is that the deck is not linear.
Okay.
It's not like you normal summon Draconet and then you make Ebe and then you do the whole combo. It's a significant amount of cards that aim to make a suite of very powerful Cybers extra deck monsters, finally ending on a Final Sigma, which is usually the result of a 4-star Cybers monster and multiplication. A multiplication allows you to change that monster's star line to 8, and it looks like he's aiming to go first this game.
Now, that's interesting.
All right, I want to know what he's up to.
Okay, so there's a Mud Dragon, so that's a 4.
That's cute. Ooh, and he's got Signet Mining in hand. That potentially represents Final Sigma. Does Lunalight Orcust have an out? Now, why would you Final Sigma away a multiplication, I wonder? Oh, that's why. So this game we're going to get to see some of the grave shenanigans that Mathmech is capable of. This is Mathmech Normal Sigma. This card allows you to treat any Mathmech as a tuner or non-tuner, since routinely you have a problem where like you have too many tuners on your side of the field. This is unfortunately a normal summon because he controls a monster in the extra monster zone. Ooh. That's Dalimbertian.
And so Alimbertian is the one that allows you to he doesn't get the effect for 4.
No, he gets the effect for 2, which is Rhoda.
Right.
The 2 effect is broken.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah. So the card he has searched is what he showed to me. He said, listen, you go too far in when you build Mathmech on something like Imperial Order. You need to be relying on this card, Super Factorial.
Okay.
This card allows you to target 3 Mathmechs in your graveyard with different names, then activate one of the following effects. You can special summon them, but their effects are negated. Then you synchro with those monsters. You can special summon them, but their effects are negated, and you can Xyz with those monsters. The next step is to use Alimbertian's Face Up effect, which allows him to pop himself to special summon a Mathmech from the graveyard.
Which is what he already did here.
This is Sigma back on board before we go into Subtra, decreasing its attack to special summon himself. Oh, this is my favorite part of the combo. Link Devotee. Oh, wow. This man is extremely in the tank. So Link Disciple and Link Devotee are 2 Link 1 monsters that have to be made with exactly Cyberses. You can tribute one of them in order to draw a card and then put a card from your hand back into like the top or the bottom of your deck. And then Devotee triggers, which summons tokens to your side of the field. So this allows you to afterwards Link summon Cyberse Wicked, then summon a Link Haribo under it, triggering the effect of Cyberse Wicked, which adds a Cyberse card to your hand, I believe.
So ultimately, it all results in Rhoda.
Yeah, it's just like a million miles to Rhoda.
But while also getting Link material at the same time.
Yeah. And remember, this is all being done with a Super Factorial. Okay, so Wicked says if a monster is special to his zone, you can banish a Cyberse and then add a Cyberse tuner from your deck to your hand.
Which there is a
There's a
Mathmech
plethora.
tuner. Yes.
There's the Desires. The upside to Wicked is because he banishes. Occasionally you get to banish Balancer Lord, which nets you a whole bunch of pluses.
Balancer Lord's one of those really good generic Cyberse cards.
Oh, Balancer Lord has found its home in this deck.
Yeah.
It is the first one of these that's broken. Coder time. All right, so since Code is being used to summon a Code Talker, we are going to get a Signet Optimize to hand, I believe. And he's putting it in the other zone.
Yeah, so Code Talker comes down. You said he can search Signet Optimize?
I believe that's the target that he showed me.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks like Ernesto's going to take a read of this one.
And
you're going to pull it up as well.
Yeah, I've been doing this the whole time. So Signet Optimize says if your Code Talker battles, there's an Armades effect. But more importantly, it gives you an extra normal summon of a Cyberse monster during your main phase.
Okay.
But it locks you into Cyberses.
Which, I mean, this deck is...
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, it's all Cybers. All right, so he's going to activate. I'm assuming it's a continuous spell.
It is.
Okay, so get the extra normal summon.
You know, extra normal summon continuous spell. What is that? Oh, my.
So now it looks like we're... Is he linking off the Code Talker?
That's a high rarity card. That's Mathmech and Nabla.
Okay.
So Nabla lets you tribute a Cyberse monster
Okay.
and then summon from your deck a Mathmech monster. He's going to get here a Sigma. And because the Sigma is special summoned, I believe he can activate the effect of that.
And Sigma's special summon effect is...
Oh, my goodness. It lets you get one from the graveyard.
Oh, okay. But he's not even going to use it. It looks like he's going to link off.
Oh, no. Oh, and I was also completely wrong. He's going into IP Masquerena. We're just going to set a copy of Super Factorial and keep up a Nightmare Unicorn. I mean,
Right,
that's pretty good.
And then Super Factorial is the one that you said you get to summon 3 and then immediately synchro with them.
And the 3 will be Final Sigma.
Right, which is basically like...
Final Sigma is
it's
Masterpiece.
Right, it's the towers, right?
Right, it's
Yeah.
Masterpiece if it's in the extra monster zone, which
Right.
I don't think it's very likely it's going to be. But it also, has 3,500 attack, deals a ton of damage on attacks. It's just an all-around fantastic card.
Sure. So right here, you have to worry about... So Masquerena and the Super Factorial are the 2 cards that are the reactive cards here.
These are the 2 things that Ernesto needs to worry about.
Sure.
Now, of course, Lunalight Orcust prides itself in its ability to play through interaction.
So now we're going to see Ernesto. Foolish Burial Goods a copy of Lunalight Perfume. Perfume is going to banish itself, discard a copy of Nessie, and now he's going to be able to add a Lunalight card to his hand. That will also trigger the Nessie because, you know, the dangers are pretty good.
They're all right, I hear.
So he's going to grab a copy of Kaleido-Chick.
Yep.
I really just love the amount of starters that Lunalight Orcust has. Nessie's going to trigger now.
Looking at the hand real quick.
Maybe grab a Jackalope Tsuchinoko. It just really depends on what else is in his hand. And he's going to go for Jackalope. Sounds good.
For those of you in chat worrying about time for the Mathmech player, he did an OTK in 60 seconds in his last match.
So now down comes Tenki, like another starter.
Yep.
And so he's going to go for Emerald Bird, interestingly enough.
Well, that telegraphs that there's everything in the hand. Taking a read of Emerald Bird, I do not blame him.
I believe it allows you to just draw and discard. Maybe the opposite when it's specialed.
Yeah.
Which that effect seldomly comes up, but yeah, sometimes. Oh,
All
he's
right.
actually going to normal it. Okay.
Sure.
Here comes the effect. So, yeah, so it's pitched to draw.
What does that telegraph for you? A lion in hand already?
Possibly?
Tiger, I mean. Oh, my.
I feel like if you have Tiger, then you can bring back Kaleido-Chick, and then you could send Yellow Martin, and then you essentially have, yep, there you go.
Yep.
Because since this is free, you might as well just get the extra card.
I would have considered going into Nightmare Unicorn here and getting the Tiger before its effect activated.
So now, at what point are you going to use the
Super
Mathmech?
Factorial?
Yes. At what point does that make sense?
All right. So it looks like at Resolution, he's going to IP Masquerena. I think he's trying to tuck back this copy of Kaleido-Chick. That's not terrible.
Yes, Kaleido-Chick is not an on-summon effect. It does have to be activated. So that way you get rid of the... And Ernesto's already normal summoned.
He has.
So the ways of Kaleido-Chick coming down now are very limited. So maybe we'll say Unicorn?
I was thinking real quick about it. It's a weird position to be in, you know? Always thinking about...
Trisbania.
Trisbania seems a little sus.
Oh, no,
to be
Bomber
honest.
is the other one.
Well, he could Bomber. That is correct. He could Bomber and then Super Factorial for Final Sigma, and then it's destroyed, and then you search a Mathmech. That's, like, fine. This is a hard one for sure. It is going to be Bomber.
Okay, so Bomber comes down.
Okay. And then I think this is a passive priority. Oh, no.
Oh, Gizmech.
That's a fantastic card. Now he doesn't even have to waste the Final Sigma.
Absolutely. So he can trigger the Bomber, get rid of everything, and that's actually huge. Okay,
Oh,
that
man.
changes the equation, you could say.
Oh, wow. That's going to go in the highlight reel.
And so now Ernesto's board gets wiped.
So we're going to special summon with the effect of Emerald Bird. Then we'll activate the effect of Kaleido-Chick. Love that this happens. Sending a copy of Yellow Martin.
Right, it just almost feels like Unicorn would have been better there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, technically he could wipe the board again.
And I think he will probably have to.
Yeah, I think he doesn't really have much of a choice there. I think Ernesto has another Foolish Burial Goods in hand at the top, it looks like.
Jeez.
We know he has Jackalope. He's going to go for Yellow Martin, bounce the Tiger back to hand. That might prompt the Super Factorial, though.
He's hovering it. I think I let it go, yeah.
It doesn't really make sense because it doesn't really do anything at that point.
Right. Like, you want to be waiting until your opponent is going to commit to something.
Right, because and you already know he has Tiger, so as soon as you wipe the board again, then he would just Tiger, so it's pretty much just back to square one.
Like, it's a weird position to be in, for sure. Ooh. All right. Now
So
we have a problem.
Now you are essentially forced to do this?
Well, Topologic Bomber is only the main monster zones, correct?
Yes.
All right, so we're going to Synchro or Xyz, pick your poison. Now, there is one Xyz that we might see, and if that's the case, oh, is something cool about to happen. He did it! Wait! Oh, my goodness.
So what?
Okay, so
I was
there's
gonna say.
actually two Mathmech Xyz. The
Okay.
other one is Primathmech Laplacian. So This card reads, if a Mathmech you control would be destroyed by a card effect, you can detach a material instead, which obviously he's going to do in the face of this Topologic Bomber Dragon. If this card is summoned, you can choose or discard up to 3 materials from it, then choose up to the same number of the following effects. Send a card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard, send a monster they control to the graveyard, and send a spell or trap to the graveyard. So he's going to send Nyarla here, and is going to be able to protect his own monster from Topologic Bomber Dragon's effect. While that's sweet, he's now out of stuff.
Yeah, and he also, I believe, sent a Jackalope from Ernesto's hand to the graveyard. But, however, that doesn't trigger the Jackalope because this dangers specifically have to be discarded.
Yeah.
So I guess that's actually not too bad. So, but the question is here, did that do enough? Like,
yeah.
Will it be enough for Maximilian?
We've had 2 board wipes, and still, it might not be enough. I mean, that's the strength of Lunalight Orcust. And reading the effect of Sign It Optimize, it doesn't really do anything here.
Aside from that extra normal summon, right? Which, again, at this point is, for Ernesto's sake, it doesn't do anything right now.
Right.
And so hitting the Jackalope could have actually mattered to a degree, but now Tiger can resurrect something, and he has a Mothman. Oh, jeez.
So getting the Nyarla out means that Topologic Bomber Dragon is going to be on for the remainder of the turn. And that's a huge deal because Topologic Bomber Dragon, I don't think, has to be to a zone Topologic.
Correct. It's any time a monster summoned to a zone, a link monster points to it triggers.
So Ernesto is going to have to figure out a way to either remove the Topologic Bomber Dragon or build a board without pointing to his own monsters.
Which seems a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
Not impossible, but not easy either.
Oh, it looks like we're now going for the Raid Raptor?
Possibly, just to get Zephyros?
Oh! That's a big one.
Yep. Maximilian says
no.
IOTK, but Ernesto has
an OTK of his own.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not particularly sure if there's something in the graveyard that can special, but there's got to be. That's 10,000 into a 25. And,
Maximilian's only on 7K because he used Instant Fusion.
yeah, that's going to be it. Oh, wow. That was pretty painful.
Still looking to earn your invite to the $10,000 cash prize Pro Play Tour YuGiOh Invitational on January 24th through 26th in Orlando, Florida? Well, why not attend a Pro Play Tour qualifier at your local game store? Participating stores can host PPT qualifiers with their official Pro Play Tour Store Challenge Kit. Interested in hosting a PPT qualifier of your own? Visit ppgeventmanagement.com to learn how your local game store can qualify to host Pro Play Tour qualifiers today.